Let's do a quick review of the absolute value. The absolute value is essentially the distance away from zero on a number line. So here's a quickly sketched out number line. The absolute value is the distance from zero on a number line. So if I said the distance from zero was 2, well, we know right away that can be a positive 2. So the absolute value of positive 2 is equal to 2. But that's 2 away from 0 going to the right. What about a distance of 2 away from 0 going to the left? That would be negative 2. So the absolute value of 2 and the absolute value of negative 2 is that distance 2, that the number is away from 0. Let's say that I give you that the absolute value of x is equal to 1. So the distance again from 0 is 1. We know that x is either equal to a positive 1 or x is equal to a negative 1 because both are one step away, going to the right and going to the left from the origin of the number line or from that 0 point. So regardless of whether you have a 5 or a negative 5, the answer is always positive because it's the distance away. So the distance from 0 to get to 5 is 5 steps. So 5, or the distance to get to negative 5 is still 5. 5 and negative 5 are the same exact distance from that 0. And that is a review of the absolute value. Let's look at using the absolute value within an equation that we're going to solve. Say I give you that 3/5 x plus 2, the absolute value of that quantity is equal to 10. Remember from what we just did, this absolute value, 10, is the distance away from 0. So this quantity could either equal positive 10 or it could equal a negative 10. Because the absolute value of negative 10 is 10, and the absolute value of a positive 10 is 10. So we're going to break this up into two separate equations. So 3/5 x plus 2 is going to equal that positive 10, or 3/5 x plus 2 is going to equal that negative 10. That's how we can remove an absolute value. Looking at the positive within the absolute value and looking at the negative within the absolute value. So now we simply solve each equation. Start by subtracting 2 from both sides. So we're left with 3/5 x is equal to 10 minus 2, which is 8. Over here, start by subtracting 2. Negative 2 minus 2 is going to be a negative 12. So 3/5 x is equal to negative 12. Now we're going to divide both sides by 3/5. But remember, dividing by 3/5 is the same as multiplying by that reciprocal of 5/3. So divide by 3/5 is the same as multiplying by 5/3. So we have x is equal to 8 times 5, because this is 8 over 1, so 8 times 5 over 1 times 3, so 40 thirds. Or x is equal to negative 12 times 5 over 1 times 3, so that would be negative 60 over 3, but negative 60 over 3 can be simplified down because 3 goes into 60 20 times. So we have that x is equal to 40 over 3, or x is equal to negative 20. So let me go ahead and plug each of these values for x back in to our very first original equation at the top. So the absolute value of 3/5 x, where x is going to be 40 over 3 plus 2, and we're going to see if that's equal to 10. The 3's will cancel out. 40 over 5 is 8, so 8 plus 2, which is equal to the absolute value of 10, which we know is equal to 10. For the next one, the absolute value of 3/5 x in this case is negative 20, but I want to leave it in fraction form because it'll be a little bit easier because the 3's will cancel out. Plus 2 equals 10. 3's canceling out. Negative 60 divided by 5 is negative 12. So we have the absolute value of negative 12 plus 2. Negative 12 plus 2 is a negative 10. We know the absolute value of negative 10 is 10 because it's that distance of 10 away from 0. So both of our answers check out. And that is how you solve for your variable when you have an absolute value in your equation.